Hello and welcome to the Art of Decluttering podcast. I'm Amy Revell, and I am the principal organizer at the Art of Decluttering. I've literally never called myself that before. We call ourselves decluttering and organizing experts, and I am the owner of the Art of Decluttering. I get to lead a beautiful team of people that come out and serve clients in their homes every single day. We've got an amazing team, and I just love that we get to go and do that in people's homes, but also every week without fail, I get to come and be in your ears and talk to you about ways that you, no matter where you are in the world, can use the principles of decluttering and organizing and actually make changes in your home. Today, I want to go over an article that I wrote for houzz.com.au, so houzz.com.au. If you just search my name in the search bar up the top, you'll see a lot of articles that I've written for them. I used to be a freelance writer for them. And an article that I want to go back to and have a look at now, I actually wrote in February 2020. Okay, so we all know what happened in like March and April 2020, but in February 2020, we were still a bit blissfully unaware of the impact that a pandemic was going to have across our world. And funnily enough, this article is probably more relevant today than it even was back then. And it's about seeing your home with fresh eyes. And this article was written after I had gone and worked with a few different clients who had hired me to come out and work with them in preparation for moving house. And then once we started doing the decluttering and organizing, they fell back in love with their homes and then did not list it on the market, which, to be honest, they're probably grateful for that they didn't have to move during COVID. But it really brought to mind, my goodness, for the cost of stamp duty and the cost of moving house and the stress that is, particularly when people are moving to a similar size house in the same suburb. There are some things that you can do that will help you to see your home with fresh eyes, achieve a really big transformation without having to move house. And I think that so often once people do the work to move house, they then just wish that they'd done it earlier. And so what I want to do today is encourage you in the act of seeing your home with fresh eyes. Now, if you've done my Head, Heart and Home course, you will know that we have a whole section where we talk about fresh eyes, and we've got some activities that we do as part of that. One thing that I find really helpful that removes you from just seeing your home, you become visually blind to marks on the walls. You might find that you just don't notice that the bathroom grout is dirty, or that the gutters need replacing, or that your concrete driveway is absolutely falling apart. You just don't notice those things because they become part of your everyday. If you noticed every single thing in your home all the time, your mind and your brain and your eyes would just be in overload. And so it's important that we're in a space where we're not constantly bombarded by all the little things. And that is one of the benefits of being decluttered, is that your brain has space to rest and your eyes have places to rest. But what I want to talk about is using that fresh eyes to help you kind of figure out what it is that you want to do around your house that can make a really big difference without you necessarily having to move house. And so this is something that Cal and I are actually in the process of doing ourselves. So we've been tossing around for probably, I'm going to say 5 years. Originally, the plan was when we bought this house 10 years ago that we were going to live in it for a little bit, pay some of the mortgage down, knock it down and rebuild it. It's quite an old home. And so we thought, fantastic. We quite like the location. The block's a bit quirky, and I quite like having something that's a little bit unique. And so I thought, great, that's what we'll do. And due to different reasons and different work situations and then lockdowns and now just increased interest rates, the increased cost of building, I think it probably would have, if not doubled, since we started getting quotes 5 years ago, it'd be pretty close to it. And so we've made the decision that actually we're going to stay in the house as it is. Also, our kids are 15 and 17 now, and there's nothing actually wrong with it. It's just a bit ugly. So what we thought we might do is the activity that I wrote about a few years ago, and that's go and find what are the things that you see with fresh eyes that could make a really big difference. So I want to encourage you to start outside, actually. I want you to think about your street appeal, because when you're selling your house, an agent will talk a lot about what your street appeal is. And it's not necessarily spending like tens of thousands of dollars in your garden or getting a whole new facade put on your house, but it is something that there's appeal from the street. So you come out and you're like, oh, it feels like home. So maybe just take your phone out and write a list. Wander outside, stand on the footpath, stand across the road and think, what if I could, what I'll do to increase my street appeal? Maybe it's that you want to paint your front door. It might be that you want to have some fresh flowers in the garden, or you just need some, general weeding and gardening done. It might be something super simple, like there's just lots of cobwebs. Pay one of your kids $1 and get them to go out there with the cobweb sweeper and get those down. It can be really, really simple things that can make all the difference for your front door. You might want to go then around to the back. Just literally stop and smell the roses. Take a slow walk around your whole yard, even the parts of your yard that you don't go to very often, down the sides, down where the bins are, down the back of the yard. Go under the deck if you've got an under the deck, and have that slow walk and try and look at things like stop and look at your fences. Stop and look at your garden beds or your paths or your gates. Stop and look at the toys in your backyard. See them with fresh eyes. Like, what can you declutter with the purpose of making your garden or your backyard more enjoyable to be in? There might be, broken pots, broken toys. Maybe the trampoline's a bit busted up. Maybe there's flat basketballs in your garden beds. I got my kids to get 2 basketballs out of the garden beds just this morning because I was like, they're going to get waterlogged and then they're going to complain that the balls don't bounce very well. Having that slow walk around will help you to see your outdoor space as though you're viewing it for the first time. And if you find that really hard, if you find that you can't kind of disconnect and see things with fresh eyes, try looking through your phone. So just put like your, video phone, whatever on, so you can look through your phone. You don't have to record it, but you could. And use that to kind of remove yourself a little bit. And so you can look through your phone. You might find that just taking photos and then looking at the photos is helpful. Write down these things that you think could make a difference. Once you've done your outside, I want you to go inside and think about looking at your walls with fresh eyes. And I've talked about this in a few different episodes with art, with photos with Chantel, but you kind of stop seeing your artwork. You stop seeing these things that other people would notice when they came in. So just notice it. It might be that you literally just need to straighten your photos or your artwork. Maybe you want to just swap them around, just what's a bit different so you feel like the space is a bit fresher. Maybe there's ones that have been there for a really long time, and if you look at them objectively, and if you look at them with fresh eyes and maybe through your phone, are just ugly. The frame's ugly, the painting's ugly. Maybe it's time to get rid of some. Maybe it's time to just have some blank space. Like, that's cool too. You might just go, actually, I'm going to live 6 months with blank space, or I'm going to go and look for some art, or I'm going to create some art. That fresh eyes can help you declutter things that you just would never have thought of before. It might be that it's simply taking the kids' artwork off the walls, whether it's in a bathroom, in the back of the toilet door, on the fridge. It might just be time to take all of the kids' artwork down and just what we do in our family is have a bonfire and burn it, or maybe put it in special boxes. But fresh eyes can help you declutter your spaces that you wouldn't even have known needed decluttering. So we've done the outside, we've done the walls. Let's take a quick break, and then I want to come back to you and talk to you about furniture and inside the house and how fresh eyes can make a really big difference here. One of the things I love as a professional organizer is when I get to go into people's homes, and because I've not been in their homes before, I automatically have those fresh eyes, like a real estate agent or an interior designer would. They come in and we go, oh, okay, that looks out of place. That looks great. Why is there an extra couch there? That seems really cluttered. And we can see things that maybe furniture that's superfluous or items that are just not being used. I can't tell you the amount of homes that have bedside dressers, drawers, or bookshelves somewhere in the house that are completely empty. Just this week, I took one from a lovely client's bedroom because she'd had it. She felt like she should have a need for an extra set of drawers, but she totally didn't. And then when I said to her, should we just donate this? And she was like, oh, I guess yes. I guess it's been sitting there and I haven't needed it, and so we got rid of it. But when it's in your house, you don't even notice that there's a spare set of cupboards that you are never using, or a chair or a couch or a side table or a coffee table. And so coming in and seeing that with fresh eyes is awesome. So have a look. Maybe even while I'm speaking, you might like to get up and go and have a look in your lounge room. What is there that's extra? Is there a beanbag that actually nobody sits on? Are there cushions on your couch? A little bit guilty here, that are superfluous. Are there more cushions than any human would ever need, unless you're just having a massive pillow fight or the kids are wrestling? Yes, that's me. But I love my cushions. Seeing with fresh eyes your furniture can also help you to kind of understand the flow a bit better. So because if you look at heat maps of a home, you'll see that we just walk the same paths, we go the same way all the time. There are parts of our houses that are used all the time and parts that are just so rarely used. So maybe just think, am I constantly walking around something that if someone else came here, they'd think, that's a really strange place to have that? And sometimes it is a coffee table and everybody has to walk around it and everybody has to go sideways to get through. And you've just always thought you should have a coffee table. And so you've got one, but then actually, do you? Do you really need one? I don't have a coffee table. I've got some little side tables. So if someone is literally having a coffee, there's somewhere to put it, but it doesn't take up that space in a room. So think about kind of that, what is extra, what can go, what am I not using? And don't just pop it in the garage, as we talked about last week. Don't just fill your garage with things that you are delaying getting rid of. Actually get rid of them, donate them, give them away. And unfortunately, sometimes that means rubbish as well. One of the other things to look at is simply your walls. Do I need to paint my walls? Do the floors need to be redone? Do we need to get rid of some appliances off the kitchen bench? You know, I love having minimal appliances on the bench. We've got our microwave, our kettle, our toaster. Now I'm saying it doesn't sound so minimal. A microwave, toaster, coffee machine, and kettle. So those 4 appliances sit on the bench itself. We've got quite a large kitchen and they just sit in one corner. But like the sandwich press, the air fryer, the mix master, the toasty, all of those things, the blender, the food processor live in a cupboard, really close, easy to pull out, not difficult. But actually, when you look at things visually, you're like, I actually don't need that item out. Even though maybe, like for us, we use our air fryer probably every day, but it takes 4 seconds to pull it out and then put it away when it's done. And it really does make the kitchen feel less cluttered and cleaner. It's easier to tidy up when the benches are clear. You can easily just spray, wipe, and you're done. Think about it with kids' toys. Do all those toys actually need to be out? Or can you go through? Can you declutter them? Can you go, okay, the kids don't really play with this thing. So what if I, talk to them and we help them to let go of some things? Maybe it's looking at your bookshelf with fresh eyes. Heaven forbid, people, you would get rid of books. I feel like if there's ever anything I'm going to get cancelled for, it's for telling people to declutter their books. But I feel somewhat justified that I'm an author and I'm still telling you to get rid of books. So, cancel me if you must. But maybe it is the bookshelves. Maybe it's the bathroom counter where you're looking at it and you're going, do I really need all of this stuff out on the bench all the time? Or can some of this go in the cupboard underneath? One of the things clients will know is that I'm a big fan of not having your toothbrush out in the bathroom, particularly if your bathroom is in any way attached to a toilet. Just think about what you're flushing and airborne particles, super gross. But there are awesome things you can do. Just pop it in a what are they called? The shaving cabinets, the ones that open at face height. Pop it in a drawer, pop it in the cupboard underneath. Like, have a look with fresh eyes at all the spaces in your home and just think, is this working? How can I make it more lovely so that I can enjoy living in it? So this episode is about, looking with fresh eyes so that you can declutter and you can organize and you can create that peace and calm in your home. But it is also about making it beautiful so that you can enjoy it. Maybe it is like Cal and I wanting to do. So some of the things on our list is that we do want to paint the front door. But some things are just silly little things. Like there's a PowerPoint in my kitchen bench that doesn't work. And so it hasn't worked for years and years and years. And we've lived without it and it's not that much of a pain. But if I was going to sell the house, I would definitely get that PowerPoint fixed. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the list for an electrician. I'm going to get that fixed. Simple things like getting the floodlights outside actually like wired into the house electrics. Because at the moment we run an extension cord when the kids want to play basketball outside. Again, totally not the end of the world. It's like a $12 floodlight that we stuck up there from Bunnings and we plug it in when we need it. But it's these things that you would do for someone else that often we don't do for ourselves. And so have a look with fresh eyes. Have a look through your phone. Take photos and have a look at the photos, or take a video and have a look at the video and write things down. You don't have to do them all straight away. Don't be overwhelmed by all of the things. But think about like, what do I keep on the bench? Okay, look at it. Does anything actually need to stay on the bench? What do you keep on the kitchen table? Does anything actually need to stay on the kitchen table? Have a look at your work desk. Have a look at the nursery change table. There are so many areas you can just look at with fresh eyes and go, if this was someone else's house, or if I was going to sell this house, how would I want this set up? Not just to make it, beautiful for other people, but to make it practical and enjoyable for you. As I said, there's heaps of articles on house that I have written. I'm just kind of doing a bit of a throwback occasionally and going through them because I feel like they are really helpful. And if you're a visual person, the photos on house are just beautiful. So as I said, just search my name up the top, or you can search the Art of Decluttering up the top and you will find it as well. I hope that's helpful. Look at things with fresh eyes. And I'm going to be back in your ears next week. I can't wait to see you then. Bye. I would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people who are the traditional custodians of the land this podcast is recorded on. I would also like to pay respects to their elders, both past and present, of the Kulin Nation, and extend that respect to other Indigenous Australians. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love you to rate and review the show on your podcast app. That will help others to find the Art of Decluttering podcast as well. If you'd like any more information, you can visit theartofdecluttering.com.au, and I would love to see you in my Facebook group. Just search the Art of Decluttering community on Facebook and join today. I hope that you have an incredible rest of your day and enjoy the freedom.